try to fix it. All right, bro. So we had a good time on that Prime Kai panel until old boy had to hit let that one rot. So look. So let's talk. City Bike Karen. Remember there was that whole thing where we were asking about where you guys were saying, how do we know that the bike was rented out at the time and all that stuff?
Yeah.
I got receipts. Okay.
Oh,
Quite
shit.
a few of them. So now we do know for sure that the bike was rented out. So I'm going to go ahead and stream my screen so you can look at it with me. Okay. Would be this one. Okay. We're going to go live on this one. All right. Now I'm going to show you something. Here it says how to dock a bike. Ending your ride, tap on a station to see the exact number of bikes, blah, 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 blah. Wait until the light on the dock turns green to make sure it's locked. If you aren't sure, pull the bike by the handlebars to confirm it's properly locked. So the purple light on the bike means it's in use. The green light means that the bike is docked and locked. Okay?
All right.
People had made this statement, but I wanted to find it by the additional, like, because all the people from New York and like LA who use these bikes were saying, hey, this is a thing, but I wanted to be sure that it was accurate. So I found it on the actual website. Okay. So that purple light at the front of that bike means that that bike is in use. Okay. Now I'm going to drag the actual video of the encounter onto the stream so you can see. Do you see that light on that bike? It's purple. The bike is in use. Okay. Here's the other point. Another point that verifies it. I want you to see this.
Reset the bike.
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his. I'm gonna
pull it out in your account. You're active. That's just my bike.
Okay.
It's fake crying. Stop fake crying.
You'll see it. You see that right there? See that in the back? That's his friend who is also on a bike. See the light on his, how it's purple?
Yep.
That's because that bike is also in use. Purple bikes are in use. So that means right now that this bike is in use the entire time. You agree?
It would appear so.
Okay. Now, the question becomes, who is it in use to? Is it in use to her, or is it rented out to him? Okay? Now, there's two more statements that also prove that it's in use. Listen.
Hold up. Hey, stop touching me. Why don't you take this bike?
Reset the bike.
I'm not resetting the bike.
Hey, Hassan, you pulled it out? Hassan, you pulled it out?
This is my bike. It's on my account.
You hear that? So his friend asked him, you pulled it out. He said, this is my bike. It's on my account, right? So it sounds like the bike isn't docked there as well. And last statement.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
He asks, why don't we reset the bike? Meaning that clearly the bike is in use, or else you wouldn't need to reset it, right?
That one's a little bit more iffy, but sure, I can go along with it.
Concomitantly, it seems like it paints a pretty strong picture that the bike is actually not docked right now, right? Because the light needs to be green. The fact that he says, yes, I pulled it out, it's on my account, and the guy was telling him, why don't we reset the bike? Yes, you could reset a bike if it was still docked some kind of way, maybe, possibly, but just the three things working together concomitantly, it sounds pretty freaking strong that the bike is actually not docked right now, right?
Hit play. I want to see if the purple light stays on the whole video.
There's another point where there's another time where it slightly turns off. Because the bike light doesn't always.
Stop fake crying.
Hey, stop touching me. I want to touch you.
Hold up.
Hey, stop touching me.
Why don't you take this bike?
Stop touching me.
I will.
Exactly. So take it.
Stupid ass. Fuck out of here. Dumbass. Your baby gonna come out with
Wait, how you stop crying? Not a tear came down, miss. Not a tear came down.
Where's the part where you said it turns off briefly?
Oh, it's at the very. It's near the beginning. Here, I'll show you.
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you? Don't touch his phone. Do not touch his phone.
I'm not touching you.
And here you can see the receipt, right? See the bike? It says 5603915.
Yeah.
Later, like her lawyer actually provided a receipt for the bike, and it matches this one. So that's how we know that this is the bike.
I saw that.
My dude, stop. No, my dude, stop. No.
Wait, go back like 4 seconds. Was the light off?
We
That
can't
light
see
looks
really.
off, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, but it probably was because it does turn off. Like there's a small little time where it does. You'll see, and then you'll see it when it turns back on.
No, my dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
See, lights off right now still,
You're not going.
but it's not green, so it's definitely not docked. Because you'll know. Let me pull this up one more time. Wait until the light on the dock turns green to make sure it's locked. If you aren't sure, pull the bike by the handlebar to confirm it's properly locked. This bike is still not docked.
Whoa, does it stay lit green the whole time it's locked? Like if it's sitting there like overnight?
Yeah, I believe so. But it never turned green at any point during this thing.
I don't see green. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And the other thing is, if it did turn green, and so therefore it was locked, then that means someone would have to unlock the bike again. And in order to do that, you would need to either go to the kiosk or use your phone to unlock the bike. Once a bike is locked, you can only unlock a bike with your phone or the kiosk, right? Or how else are you going to get the bike?
I don't know. Can you unlock city bikes with your phone? I'm not 100% sure.
You have to. That's how you order. That's how you order it. You can order it through phone or through a kiosk because there's an app.
Okay,
that's how you rent the bikes.
Sure.
Okay. He's clearly has his hand on the thing. He's not using his phone. He's not. The bike just didn't lock. But I like it. I like this lawyer brain. You're trying to make sure everything's in a row before we get there. I respect it. I'm not upset at all. I understand exactly how you think, and I respect that. So at this point, we don't see any evidence that him or anyone else used their phones in order to re-unlock the bike during this time. So it seems like it's just continually unlocked. Okay? Lastly. No, I mean, I guess that's it.
Well, you had something else?
Well,
her receipt says, don't leave anything out. Yeah, don't leave anything else.
Her receipt says that it was only for 1 minute. That's how long she had the bike. Now, the length of this video is 1 minute and 30 seconds. She also claims, the original video, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds, okay? Notice, by the way, as soon as she gets off of the other phone, watch.
Baby gonna come out with wait, how you stop crying? Not a tear came down, miss.
Notice she immediately gets on her phone to order the next ticket. Now you might say, no, maybe she's not getting a ticket. Maybe she's calling family or somebody else or something else. No. Let's read what it says from her lawyer. Okay. The first receipt reviewed by the Post shows that the bike being taken out before it was relocked 1 minute later, which Marino said is the bike seen in the video. The second receipt shows another bike being taken out a minute later from the same docking station and was the bike Marino said his client used to get home after being heckled and pressured to find a new bike by the group. So what it sounds like is that she had this bike, the original one, the one that's shown in the video, that got redocked and then unlocked by Hassan, and now she's immediately ordering another book. And the reason why ordering another bike, and the reason why we know she's ordering another bike is because it happens within 1 minute of the original other docking thing. We're assuming that it's rounded down, and this video is 1.5 minutes. So she is immediately going to order another bike.
Can you go, I'm curious, that 1:25 when she's on her phone, go back exactly 1 minute.
1 minute?
Yeah, to 0:25.
Okay.
Yeah, hit play around 0:25.
25 under that?
Yeah, hold on.
You putting this on my hand. Dude, stop.
Okay, pause it. The timing here is important, right? Because we know we have... hold on 1 second. We know that she does have a receipt for 1 minute for that specific bike, right?
Yep. But it can't be during this video.
I don't know if it could be or couldn't be, because this is like one of the issues is I don't know how perfect city bikes are when it comes to like the lighting here, because if from 26 to 27 you have the period where the light is off, and then almost exactly a minute later you have her going to another bike, could it be possible that during that minute was when she had that bike rented?
No.
Okay.
Because
how do we know that for sure?
Oh, good question. Yep. So as the bike ends, first off, it's been rented this whole time. The light not being purple the entire time doesn't mean anything. And secondly, again, if during this time, that this 26-second mark when the bike isn't whatever, he would have had to have rented it, because at the very end of this video, this timestamp right here, when she gets off of the bike, he begins backing the bike up because he's using the bike. It never gets locked back out. He doesn't have to renew a bike. It's already his. He said from the beginning, it's on my account multiple times. And look, now she gets off of the bike and he starts moving the bike because it's not docked. And now he's like getting onto the bike and he's about to start backing.
Wait, play when it's moving. It looks like it's just moving side to side, not forward and back. Like a
It
bike.
is moving side to side, but
yeah, that's not.
But you couldn't do that if the bike was docked at the station. It would be locked still. And the light is still purple at the time when this is happening. He then gets on the bike and goes and leaves.
So
And
when did she rent it for a minute then?
before the video started.
So you're saying that she rented it before the video for a minute, and then she got off, and then he rented it, and then she got on when he rented it, and then this is when the video starts.
Yes.
Okay. Does he have a receipt? Analogy. Does he actually have a receipt from City Bike?
He does have 2 receipts, actually.
From City Bike saying that he had the bike?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Do you have that? Do you have access to that? Or a story that talks about it or anything like that? Because that would be the silver bullet right there.
Okay, but before we do that, I came up with a really beautiful analogy because I haven't really engaged with that piece of evidence yet very fully. So I don't know. I haven't delved into that. The thing that I want to talk about are not concerning his receipt, because 1, I don't think he needs a receipt, because 2, for several reasons. At this point, again, the light is purple. This video is a minute and a half, right? Now, even if we were going to be charitable and assume that there's different videos. One was 135, one was 125, so on and so forth. But anyway, okay, we'll just say a minute and a half. If we're to assume, another piece of information, you cannot book another bike while you have one bike rented out.
Okay.
Unless you do it at a kiosk. If you use your phone, you can only do one bike at a time. If you want to rent multiple bikes, like say you're getting a bike for you and a family member or whatever other reason, then you have to use a kiosk. Okay? If the bike in question is rented out to her, because we know it's rented out to somebody because the light is purple, if the bike in question is rented out to her, then that means she can't be ordering another bike during his time on the kiosk unless he checks the bike back in, which he does not do because he believes the bike is on his account, as he said multiple times.
Okay, and this is the unfortunate reality because I don't have a ton of knowledge on how city bikes work. Somebody in here is saying apparently has more knowledge, at least in my chat, has more knowledge about city bikes. He docked. He rode the bike there 6 minutes prior, docked it. She then leased it. The first light during that purple is when she has it leased, and then it gets turned off because he force docks it, and then he activates it.
No, she claims, even the lawyer claims, that the docking and everything happened before the video, and he never did dock the video. It was pulled out, as he said multiple times. It's on my account. Number 1, pulled out.
Yeah, he said that, but like,
yes, and on top of the man saying that it needs to be reset, and on top of the fact that the light was purple, so it never did dock. We never saw a green light. It never got docked at all during the recording of this video.
Okay, I would need. Hold on 1 second. I would need absolute evidence that in order to switch users, the light has to turn green.
In order to switch users, the bike has to be checked in. Obviously, look.
Okay, people on my chat are saying this is not correct when it comes to City Bike.
Let's read it. They said it multiple times. City Bike.
I understand there is a flash green to ensure that it's locked, but have you ever worked with technology where it could go blank for a minute when you're switching users as opposed to always having a green light, or when the camera pulls away, there could be a flash green? I don't know.
So then, look, if it wasn't going to switch, if they were going to switch users, one of them would have to switch the users using their phone. And we see that he only has one free hand and he's literally actively in a confrontation and doesn't use his phone in order to rent a bike. So no, that's
wait.
not
Well, let's go back to the video. When the light turns off, does he have his phone in his hand? That's an interesting question. Back at,
Sure.
at 0:20. Let's start at 0:20.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm mostly interested in the receipts though, because that I think would answer the question completely.
Look at him.
Please help me.
Not your bike.
Please help me.
It's not your bike.
Please help me. Help. Please get off me.
Hey, what the fuck is going on, bro?
Please get off me.
Yo, don't not take it,
Bro,
bro.
now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Help.
You're not getting the
Get off
bike.
me.
I'm
Dude.
not. Bro, why you took his phone? What's wrong
Wait. Go,
with you?
at point 20.
Yep.
At point. Whoa, he's on his phone at point 25.
Yeah, no, he just grabbed the phone from her.
No.
She grabbed the phone from him.
Oh, for sure. But go back to 0.23. This is a minute before. This is when the light turns off, right? So hit play.
Okay, no. She grabs the phone at 20. Look, at 20 seconds.
Bro, why you took his?
Yep.
At 23 seconds,
And,
she grabbed it.
and then the purple light's still on, and then he grabs the phone.
What's wrong with you? Don't touch his phone.
And right now, he could be on his phone. And then the next frame
Let me
is
see.
the light off. He literally has the phone in his hand. You can see the corner of it right there.
Yeah, he just grabbed it from her.
Yeah, he
So,
could.
you're saying, so what you're saying is right now, while the altercation is going on, that he so you're saying right now from 24 to 28,
Yeah.
he has docked the bike and transferred ownership?
After that, could that not be the case? Are you saying that's impossible?
Yes, because the bike didn't move.
That-
Look at it.
Just because the bike didn't move doesn't mean that that can't happen.
You can't dock it if it's not if without moving it.
Hit play.
What?
You putting your stomach on my hand. That dude-
Yeah, and now the light's off.
Look, she never moved.
Do you have
She never moved.
the bike didn't move? Do you have the receipt?
Oh, got you. Hold on. So if the bike didn't move, then it didn't get docked. In order to dock the bike, you have to line it up to the thing and move it into the docking station.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
It's-
Can you
I do
link
know,
me?
I
Can
do
you
know,
link?
I do know that I don't have the receipt, and I'm not going to engage with that because I don't have that information and I haven't reviewed that
You
information.
just said
so
you
I don't
had
engage with
it. You just said you had it.
that. I said no. I said they posted receipts. I did not review that information. Is what I said.
Okay. So, but they did post receipts saying they
They
checked it
did
out.
post receipts somewhere, but the receipts are irrelevant. We'll get to that in a minute. Again, think about this. How do you it'd be like if I'm charging my phone, if I want to charge my phone, if my phone doesn't move and it's not connected to a charger, then that means it's not charging. In order for me to then charge my phone, I have to move my phone or move the charger cord, right? If nothing moves, then the thing can't charge.
No,
In the same sense, if the bike doesn't move, it can't be docked.
I don't, like I said, I don't know if this is true. If the bike is in the docking station, I'm assuming that when you activate it in the docking station, it can still be docked or undocked while it's sitting in that station, which appears to be what it is right now. It could be that it was it could be that it was in the docking station. She had it checked out, and then it was redocked, which is what her lawyer said happened. And then literally like a minute before, you have him on his phone checking it out. That could be the case. I don't know for sure.
God.
If he had a receipt showing that he had actually had it checked out,
You don't
well,
need a
now it's
receipt.
it's a whole different story, right? If he had because he should have a city bike receipt just like she does, right?
He does have a city bike receipt. I just haven't reviewed it, and I don't want to engage with that information because it's not something that I'm privy to, and I don't think that it's necessary in order to prove the point. Because, as I stated from the very beginning, in order for you to dock a bike, they say it in their instructions. Tap on a station to see the exact number of bikes and docks available. Line up the triangle located at the front of the bike with the dock and insert your bike gently but firmly. Don't slam it. That's what they say. So in order to dock your bike, you have to insert it firmly, but gently but firmly. They don't move the bike. If the bike doesn't move, it's not docked. They literally have it. Here, I'll just highlight it for you. Oh, I can't because it's like literally.
Was the bike in the docking station throughout the duration of the video?
No, if the bike was in the docking station throughout the duration of the video, then it would have been green. 1 and 2, you can also see that the bike is not lined up perfectly with the other bike that is beside it, that is not rented out at that time. As you can see, we'll move to, let's see, what time frame. You'll see the handlebars are not the same.
Are all city bikes perfectly lined up, like at all times?
Sure, I can show you an image of the way city bikes are lined up. Look.
Okay, sure.
This is the way they look.
Yeah,
No,
those aren't
actually, no,
those
that-
aren't
that's
those,
not-
those
that's
are
not
not
in
per, yeah, those are not first of all those are not
And
perfectly lined
those
up.
aren't in a docking station. They're not in a docking station either. Let me see. Let me find a picture of city bikes in a docking station.
Yeah, it would seem weird that like every single bicycle lined up in a docking station would be perfectly symmetrical. So I know you said you don't have, or you there are receipts, but could you at least
look,
Yeah.
literally perfect.
you could so the front wheel of a bicycle turns, right? So isn't it reasonable to believe that the bike could be a little bit offset from another bike next to it?
Wait, you think that there's enough room within these docking stations for these wheels to turn?
No, the back part of the bike because the front wheel turns. My question, please, is to bear with me for a second, okay? Because if this guy has a receipt showing that he had the bike rented, that would be like sufficient evidence.
We
for
don't
me,
have
okay?
access to the receipt. I'm not engaging with the receipt.
So
I don't know
what
that. I'm
what
not
what
engaging
I'm
with that. Stop
so
going to that.
the reason I'm going to it is because before you said that it exists and you don't want to review it, I understand. Do you know where I could potentially find that to review it?
That's not relevant to the conversation right now. Right now, what we're establishing is the fact that the bike wasn't docked. That's what I'm saying. The bike was not docked at the time. And we would know that the bike would be docked at the same time because, as I'm pointing out to you in the picture right now, all of these charging stations are in line. These are symmetrical. Look here, too. Here's another example. They are symmetrical. Here's another example. Here's another example. Here's another example. They're literally symmetrical. You can see it, or they're all in line. Look at this. All the bikes are lined up perfectly. That's how the bikes are. We don't see that the bikes are lined up perfectly here. You can see that his is actually slightly further behind.
Dude, stop. No. Dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
Please,
She's just crying. You're not.
You're saying that this is docked without a light on. Come on, bro.
Can city bikes transfer ownership even though they're not like in a specific docking station?
You can transfer it through another docking station. The only way that you like end your ride is to take it to another docking station. Let me see. Let's Google it. Can you transfer a city bike ride? Oh, there we go, to another person. Let's see.
All right, good luck.
Wait, that's for title. No, that's a vehicle. City bike. I didn't type city bike. That's why. City bike. No, the membership can't be shared. Can you not membership. I just want a pass. Oh, can you transfer a city bike pass? I'm pretty sure you can't. Yeah, I don't think you can. That doesn't say anywhere. There's nowhere it talking. Oh, there we go. Let's say this. Can I share my city bike? Let's see. There's it counts. Yeah. Can you see the front of the bike in the video? Oh, that's a good point inside. Yeah, I don't think I've never heard of anywhere that you can share the bike, and it seems like everywhere I'm looking, there's not turning up any results. Can we see the front? Let me see.
help me! Please help me!
Not your bike.
Please help me!
It's not your bike.
Please help me! Help! Please get off me!
Hey, what the fuck is going on, bro?
Please get off me!
I don't know that you can. Oh, the light in the front. Can you see that when it's in a station? I don't know. Let me see. City bike. Images. There was a better one that had a front view. I want the front view. This looks like it's a different bike. Oh, the light's not on in this one. I don't know. There's no. Yeah.
Could it be possible that she had the bike for a minute beforehand? The bike was pushed back in the docking station, and then he took the bike out and pulled it out, and then it's still on his credit during the whole video.
That's exactly what happened.
Right, I'm saying, but like if she had the bike for like a minute, then he came over, pushed the bike in, and then put it under
Yes,
his
I'm saying
account
that
and pulled it
I
out.
heard you,
Well,
and I heard you, and I said that's exactly what
well,
happened.
that would still be his fault, right? If he basically came and like pushed her bike back in after she had it for only a
Sure.
minute.
Yeah, it depends exactly, right? So that's why I came up with the beautiful analogy I did. But basically, yes, if she stepped away from the bike, because you're never supposed to leave your bike unattended on city bike because you're ultimately responsible for it. If she stepped away from the bike and he saw the bike and assumed that, oh, hey, this bike, someone left it and put it back in, then then yes, at that point, then he would be able to get the bike out himself at that point. If the only way that becomes problematic is if he physically pushed the bike in while she was on it. Then that would be problematic. Then it would be like, yo, you're like literally physically like forcing a person to like turn in a bike or something. But if she's not on the bike, then no, then it's not wrong because you're never supposed to leave your bike unattended.
Even if she was like let's say she wasn't on it, but she was like standing next to it, maybe dicking around on her phone or something, and she had just activated the bike, and then somebody came up like right next to her and took the bike and pushed it in or something like that. I mean,
Sure. If that happened, then that's incredibly rude. Still legally his bike, but still, yes, incredibly rude. I'll give you that. So then maybe that can be the argument. Maybe he was very rude, but then she was lying and saying that the bike was hers when it wasn't. It was his at that point because obviously the last person that rented out the bike at that point, it illegally belongs to them, right? Here, I'll give you a suggestion. Let's talk about. Let me give you an example. Say you have a person who's at a library and she rents out a book, and a person sees her renting out the book but wants the book himself. She sets the book down to go to the bathroom. He quickly picks the book up, drops it in the immediate drop box, like like the rescan to check it in, drops it in there immediately, and then goes, "Oh, hey, I'd like to rent this book out." That's rude. It's a very rude thing to do. But guess what? Once he checks that book out, whose is it? It's his.
if she went to the bathroom, that'd be like one thing. But like if you set down a book on a table next to you, like if your hands are full, let's say, and you're in line to check it out, and then like he like comes up behind, grabs the book, and then runs around her, that's like a whole different scenario. I think at that
Sure.
point, like he did take her book that she was holding on to.
Sure, the second she set the book down, at that point, guess what? Once he rented the book out, legally it would be his. Is it, again, a dick thing to do? Is it rude? Absolutely. Ultimately, guess what that still means then? If they start recording at that moment, the second she starts screaming, "Hey, this is my book," guess whose book it is? Who is it checked out to? The authorized user for whatever property is the last person to check it out, right? So whatever happened beforehand, if you want to say it was rude, I'll give you that. Fact of the matter is then, during the recording, when she was screaming and saying help and insisting on trying to take the bike, it was his then, right? Giving you what you just said. So I'll give you that. Let's just assume he's rude and she's lying by saying that the bike was hers at that point, and the 1 minute receipt does not prove that the bike was hers, right?
Wait 1 second. I'm gonna watch just a 1 minute video.
What video? Stream it.
Oh sure. Hold on. Oh fuck! I haven't streamed in Discord before. I don't know how to do it.
Just click it, DM it to me, and I'll stream it.
Sounds good.
Here we go.
So this is how you save money. So you get it free for 45 minutes. So you put it back. You broke it, Barry. You put it back. You dock it. And you get a new one.
Wait, what are we seeing? What's happening?
Hold on.
There you go. Do we have to wait a minute?
You have to wait like a minute.
Okay. And then in a minute, we'll pull the new one out. Every 45 minutes, you switch it out.
Yeah, I don't know what that was meant to show.
Why'd you waste my time with that?
I said I was going to watch it on my end. I don't know.
So you wasted our time to watch a video that you had no idea about, that probably somebody prompted you prompted you in the chat with, instead of actually engaging with the arguments that are coming out of my mouth.
No, dude, somebody said like this is a video that's relevant to like the discussion. So I wanted to see the video because I've already told you I'm not super educated on how city bikes work.
Oh, so the answer is yes to what I just said. Okay, sure. So okay, look. So my point being, look, at the end of the day, the bike was purple, was clearly rented out to them, as we saw, because these are the electronic ones. It was purple, clearly. So at this point, the bike was clearly rented out to somebody, and the length of this video is 1.5 minutes. And again, immediately afterwards, she didn't ask this nigga, hey, can you please check the bike back in because it's on my account. She just immediately starts ordering a new bike, and she did so. The lawyer detailed it. He didn't say anything about the lawyer that they checked back in the bike or anything else along those lines. It's just, okay, she then immediately ordered another bike, right? So if that's the case, then that means that this bike wasn't rented out to her during this altercation. It was rented out to young Hassan. And also, according to her lawyer, which I think is lying, it says, oh, here we go. Look, as she backed it up from the docking station, a group of 5 people approached her and claimed the bike was theirs, he said. One or more individuals in that group physically pushed her bike with her on it back into the docking station, causing it to relock, Marino said in a written statement. So in that statement, Marino, her lawyer, is also mentioning the idea, and he says one of the individuals then covered the bike's QR code, stopping her from paying for it again so she could leave. Which means, again, if that's the case, even according to her statement, then that would mean that during the recording of the video that the bike was not rented out to her.
Wait, if they push her to on the docking station, causing it to relock, and then they rented it out, like they still like took her bike, right? Okay. Even if it's rented out to
what I'm
the
establishing,
guy.
I just want to make sure that we establish the point that I just logically laid out to you. That means then during the recording of that video, the bike did belong to Hassan, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what it looks. Yeah, if that, according to her lawyer, that's what it appears to show. I'll agree with that for sure.
Right. So then that means that then again, I believe that the lawyer is lying about them pushing it with her on it, because they were like literally being calm the entire time. They literally had their hand on the bicycle. She was the one screaming for help. He was the one calmly telling her, hey, this is not your bike, over and over and over again. He had already previously used that bike shortly before this thing, but that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to really engage with that. My point being, for sure, during, and it sucked that I had to go to this thing to prove to you the argument that we all could see from the light on the bike and everything else, that the bike was clearly rented out and it wasn't rented out to her during the altercation.
Fanatiq, let's just say for a minute that what her lawyer is saying is true. I know you think he's lying, but you know we're going off of what people say, right?
So you want me to honestly engage with that part, but you wouldn't honestly engage with anything I was saying all this time?
I have let you talk for quite a bit. Just let me finish a sentence, okay? You said before you were.
I'm gonna say what
you said you're a reformed man. You said you are reformed. Didn't you say that?
Exactly. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. And I'm going to say what I said anyway.
I will. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. You can obviously.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't say. That's fine. I just want to be able to. I want to finish the sentence. So, let's assume that what her lawyer is saying is true, and it's what she's claiming, and she had a receipt beforehand. Would that make her racist for acting the way that she did?
So I'm not going to engage with that, because you refused to engage with anything I said during this entire time and kept trying to like put up every obfuscation you possibly could. And then now it's like, okay, fine. Since her lawyer says this evil thing about like what they did, I'll accept that then. And so now I'll concede, yes, the bike was clearly rented out this entire time. That's what we're doing.
Brother, I have literally, like, you have this fucking like timestamp, like fucking cork wall board fucking setup on this whole fucking video, okay? You've gone through like seconds of it. Well, this doesn't make sense. Well, that doesn't make sense. Well, technically it would be his if the light is purple. The light's only purple if it's checked out. Sure. So I already agreed at the beginning. I'm not 100% familiar how city bikes work, okay? I want to see the evidence. I want to see the receipt from him. I want to see all these things before I come to a conclusion, okay? Now, if it is true that what she's saying is true, right? Or what her attorney's saying is true, and if it is true that the receipt is what it says it is, then it very well could be that there was a reasonable dispute over the bike. Maybe she did believe it was hers. Maybe they did push her into the docking station. Maybe they didn't mean to. Maybe they did mean to. I don't know. There's a lot of like missing factors. I'll just say what I said on the panel, which was, I'm not going to take this young man's job over this fucking video because I don't know who's actually right about the fucking bike. But I'm not going to call him a racist for behaving the way he did to this woman. And I think it's fucking crazy to assume that she's racist for how she acted on this video. Maybe it turns out
hope she loses her job.
This is crazy. This is crazy, Fanatiq.
Yep, you can say it all you want to. You didn't honestly engage with what I was saying, so I don't know. I don't even know how we move forward.
I sat patiently while you went through your whole fucking theory.
No, you didn't. You put every obfuscation you could.
I asked questions. I asked questions about your theories.
You didn't just ask questions. You didn't ask questions. You literally kept saying, "Well, I don't know about literally everything." I read to you the actual rules. It's like, yeah, but I don't know that it actually.
You said you had receipts.
Then you said, "Well, yeah, I did. Here is
yeah, you did. You said
one of the receipts.
No, that's not a receipt. That's not a receipt. No, it's not.
Point blank tells you that in order
for
a bike to be
hey.
This is a receipt that point blank tells you that in order for a bike to be docked, it has to be turned green. Yet we never saw any green light. We also have the receipt from her own lawyer, which 2 different people reviewed: New York Post and NBC News. Both of them reviewed it and said that her bike was only rented out for 1 minute. We have a video that lasts 1 minute and 30 seconds. We have them immediately moving the bike. Now, how are you moving the bike like that if it's locked in the dock? We see it move very clearly. Let me go ahead and play that for you again so you can see. You're saying, oh, we're just moving it side to side. Yeah, you can't do that when the bike is locked.
Yeah, if there's no disagreement.
Look, there it is. He's turning the thing. If it was in the docking station, as we just saw, you would not be able to turn this thing to at least a 30 freaking degree angle. So the fact of the matter is, clearly that bike wasn't in the docking station at this time, so it already had to have been done there. But you wouldn't engage with all of that. You wouldn't engage with none of that stuff. Now all of a sudden, now it's like, well, yeah, I actually kind of do want to grant you that. Maybe they did push the bike with her on it, and yes, so then they did, and then they booked the bike afterwards. That's what the freak we're doing. Dishonest.
Okay, you're not from the very beginning. So first of all, you're not reformed. I just want to make that clear. Second of all,
okay,
when you talked about before, you went through a whole fucking spiel about this being the case. If her own lawyer wasn't disputing that she didn't have the bicycle during the video, what's the point of like going through and proving this? If there's no dispute, if her lawyer's saying, yeah, she didn't have the bike checked out during the video, and you're saying going through all this fucking like hoops and ladders to show that she didn't have the bike checked out during the video, then okay, then I guess, yeah, nobody has a fucking dispute that she didn't have the bike checked out during this video, and the only dispute is what happened beforehand, right?
Oh, okay. So then let's see if nobody has a dispute, because what you and all the other idiots in this conversation have been doing from the very beginning is claiming that she did own the bike and that he was wrong. We can go to any of the videos. I'll find it for you really quickly. I'm pulling it up on stream, and look on the video and look at the notes that are added onto the bottom of this video, so you can see that that is the argument that everybody is making, that during this recording that the bike is hers. Look, the author continues to cite an outdated Oh, okay. So now they've changed it. Originally, the notes. No. I'm sorry. No. That was the wrong video. That's the response.
My bad.
Yeah. Look, the woman in the video paid for the bike, and a lawyer provided receipts showing this is the case. Do you think they're giving you the context that was beforehand? No, they're not. What they're saying is that she owns this bike and that she had paid for it. It's just they're by indicating that during this dispute right now that both of them have the bike. We can go on and we can look at all the comments within the video too, and they're all saying it. 3,200 comments. Let's go. All of the people are just gonna say she's lying. Let me see. He took it from her. Meaning she paid for it. Let me see. Let's take the conversation back where it should be. Who cares who paid for the bike? The problem is all of that. Well, okay. Let me just see. Let me see. All the people that basically were telling them, yo, you're a liar, and so on and so forth. I hope you are included in the lawsuit. And thank God for notes, because the notes were saying that she paid for the bike. So paying for things instead of stealing them is white supremacy now, right? Let's see. She's a PA. They make $150K a year. Why would they need to steal from some kids? Serious question here. $120K isn't much, but he can afford a quick bike ride. But her husband makes money too. My friend married a PA, and that whatever. Everyone is saying that.
You're just reading off Twitter comments, okay? Are you here to talk to me?
Okay, then let's go to the news. Let's go to the news then. Let's go to it. Look, what is NBC saying? Or New York Post?
No, I'm asking, are you here to talk to me?
I'm here to talk to you, but what you're saying is, again, the reason why I even resorted to this was because you said, well, look, so then if the lawyer said that the bike rental happened beforehand, and all you're doing is proving to me such and such that she rented the bike, that the bike was his at the time of the video recording. First off, yesterday, when we were having the conversation, I'm sorry, Monday, when we were having the conversation, you were not willing to admit that the bike belonged to Hassan during this time. You were saying, no, that the bike was hers and that her lawyer provided a receipt for it. That's what you and everyone else was claiming. Look at what this article says. NYC hospital Karen paid for city bike at the center of the viral fight with the black man, according to her lawyer. Now,
read the second paragraph.
The second paragraph, the Bellevue Hospital, who was branded to Karen on social media afterward, rented the bike first. Justin Murray said in a statement. Right. So ultimately, when do they say at ever that the young man rented the bike? Do they say that anywhere in this article? Anywhere?
Well, so we don't know for sure if he did. He doesn't have a receipt.
Do they say it anywhere in this article?
Do they know for sure? Do they know that he did?
Do they make the statement? Answer the question.
No, they don't. They don't.
Okay, so again,
that I can see.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. It took me 4 times asking the question for you to honestly answer it. So again, it seems like then at the entire time, what they've been doing, as they did in the headline, as they did in the notes, as everyone else is doing, they've all been lying, trying to imply that at the time of this fight, she owns the bike. That's why I went through the entire diatribe where I'm explaining exactly what happened with this bike.
So it is true. I'll make this very clear. It is true that she rented the bike first. We currently do not know who the bike was rented to during the video. We don't know.
Actually, so we do know who's rented. So there we go again.
Do we have a receipt?
So here we go. So you were asking me, why is it you're going through all of this stuff to prove that the bike was rented by him? I mean, to prove that the bike was rented by him when we already know that. And now, once again, you're saying to me, we don't know who's renting the bike during the video.
We don't.
That was the reason for explaining all of those details. So what I was juxtaposing to you, and I'll say it as juxtaposed and correctly as I can. The video is over 1.5 minutes. The bike was clearly not docked at all during this 1.5 minutes. That means it had to have been rented out to a person. Furthermore, her receipt was only for a 1-minute bike rental, and this bike was already rented out for the entirety of the video. So then that means, and he immediately took the bike and then took off with the bike as soon as she got onto her second bike. All of those things means that while this bike was rented out during this video, it was not rented to her. She also immediately rented out a second bike. So if by mistake the bike was rented out to her and Hassan just left with that bike and took off with it, then that would mean then she wouldn't be able to rent another bike unless she went to a kiosk. She immediately got on her phone and rented another bike, meaning that this bike was rented out to this young man during the entire altercation. Furthermore, we know that the bike wasn't docked during this altercation because his friend asked him, you pulled, past tense, pulled it out. We also saw that the handlebars moved during the altercation, which we just saw the way those docking stations work. You cannot move the handlebar. Also, the man that came up to him said, yo, why don't you reset the bike? All of these things and the purple light, all of these things concomitantly mean that the bike was not docked during this video. And granted that that it was longer than 1.5 minutes, that means that this wasn't the bike that was rented to her. This was not the one that that 1 minute receipt applies to. So during the altercation, the bike did rightfully belong to Hassan.
So
that's why I said all of that.
Okay, hey. So I'm not disagreeing with you that it's likely not rented to her. And I'm also not disagreeing with you that it is likely rented out to him. Now, obviously, I'd want to see a receipt to be sure. Okay. But could it be possible that the bike was rented to some third party?
Wait, now we're just introducing a random...
No, I'm asking. Because you're saying, why did the news story not state who rented the bike during the duration of the video? My question is, do you know for a fact who actually had the bike rented out during the video? I agree, it's probably Hassan. It's probably the guy in the video. But do you know that, but with all the fucking confusion about who actually has the bike here, do you know that for a fact?
So you would say that there's confusion about who owns the bike?
No, I'm not saying... I'm asking a question. Are you responding?
Yes, I am. You were saying there's all this confusion between who owns the bike between these two people, and you would further obfuscate the question by introducing a third owner, which nobody has even contested? What?
No. What I'm asking you is it possible? That's the only thing I need to know. Is it possible?
Okay. Here, I'll answer the question. Thank you, Andy. Yes, it is possible. And even if it
All
was a
right.
third party, the third party would not be her. It would be one of his compatriots. So then at that point, then it's still not her freaking bike.
Yeah, I mean, if she only has 2 receipts, one of which being from a minute beforehand and one of which being 25 minutes, the bike following obviously is the one that she took. I agree with you. It's very, very, very likely, nearly to enough for me to be sure that during the duration of the video, she didn't have a bike rented out, and that appears to be what her lawyer is saying. Right? Nobody's
It took 30 minutes to get you here.
No. A while ago, I already said that. Right? If her lawyer's not contesting it, then I don't see there's not a different story being presented.
There is a different story being presented even here. They're not admitting that he rented the bike and that he owned it. They're leaving it up in the air enough like to imply that she owns the bike. They never mentioned that the bike is owned by him at this time. They only mentioned the fact that she has a receipt saying she paid for it. And again, the reason why I went to all of the comments is because that is the prevailing story now, that this lawyer presented that receipt. Most people are trying to say that she did the bike. I did my own YouTube video in response to that. Destiny did a video and where he was claiming that she owns the bike. Vosh now retracted his statements and saying, well, I must have been confused. Now that they have a receipt, it's open and shut. It must have been her bike. Everyone is saying it, and you contested it during this conversation from the very beginning, whether or not he was the owner of the bike. If you had agreed from the very beginning, I wouldn't have been so painstaking as I went through all of the details, looking up pictures, finding the receipts, doing everything I can, coming up with analogies, all of these things that demonstrate that the bike was his.
Literally,
why would I be doing that if you were agreeing from the very beginning?
Yeah, because I didn't know you were right at the very beginning. Okay, I'm not above.
So you
I'm not
contesting it.
I'm not above correction. So if you
you were contesting it in the beginning.
Of course I was contesting it because I wasn't.
Then that's why I did.
Of course, Fanatiq. Hey. I'm gonna try. Like I just said, I let you talk for a long time. I would like to have a minute just to speak. So
you got it.
Thank you. So I'm not above correction. If you had just started by saying, look, even her own lawyer is agreeing that during the duration of the video, she didn't have the bike. Here's like the video of the bike, which clearly shows that it's purple. Clearly she didn't have the bike. Nobody's saying that she had the bike. I mean, that would have just been a much easier way of going about this. If the only dispute is, well, what happened before the video started?
As I explained to you already, that wasn't the only dispute, because Monday, when we had a conversation about this bike incident, you were claiming, as well as the other white folks on that panel, that the bike belonged to her and she had a receipt to prove it at that time. Number one. Number two, again, if nobody was contesting this wouldn't even be a contested issue. But the fact of the matter was, everyone else is contesting that, including you. So the reason why I felt the need to go through all of the details to pull the receipts to prove it is because you contested it on Monday, and you even contested it at the beginning of this call. So to simply say that there was no contest is just
I never said there was no contest.
You keep saying, well, if you would have just told me that, like, hey, this is what the lawyer's saying, and no one else is saying anything else, then it wouldn't have been a conversation. But you've been saying it. You've been saying everything else, and everyone else is saying everything else. That's why.
Okay.
What the hell is happening? Are you gaslighting?
No. What I'm saying is that obviously I contested it. I told you that I contested it because what you were going through wasn't particularly convincing to me, right? You can fucking, conspiracy brain pull out certain segments of videos and make things look a particular way without things actually being that way. That's why I said in the beginning.
Brain.
Yeah, that's why. Hold on. I'm not saying that you did that. I'm saying that's what you could do, and that's what it was kind of sounding a little bit like you were doing during the duration of you explaining the video. If you had just like brought up, hey, nobody's contesting this when it in terms of the people who were actually there, right? Her or Hassan or the people that were there, like her lawyer who's representing her. If that was the case, then I would have nothing to challenge, right? There's nobody who's challenging this who's there. Neither side of the story is saying that this is an issue. Okay, great. Now that we have that established, and I agree with you, this news story, the New York Post, should make that clear. I don't disagree with you. Okay. Now hold on. Now that we agree that they should make this clear, that yes, she may have been the one that rented it first, but at the time of the video, it's unclear who actually has the bike rented. That'd be great. Now that we have that, I want to ask you a question. When you say that she should lose her job,
I'm not engaging with that yet. First, I'm going to deal with the thing that you just said, all the other things that you said. First off,
all right.
when you're saying things like, yes, it sounded like conspiracy brain during the entire time when I was expositing, the whole time I'm giving you detail. Here's the bike, whatever. Here's the like timestamps. So we can see that these bikes are in use. Here's the receipt number. Here, I'm giving you all of this information, none of which is conspiracy brain, all rooted in literal facts and deductive logic. And that same dismissive attitude was presented the entire time as I did so. And it was only once I said the other lawyers said it, because you're probably biased to sucking the dick of lawyers. At that point is when you finally go and say, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, no, I get it. Okay, so then it must have been rented out to him during this time. Meaning every other detail I gave you at that point was not enough for you to actually concede anything that we were talking about. So you were contesting it from the very beginning. So every time you start saying stupid stuff like nobody's contesting this, and I don't know why you've needed to go through all those details when you're literally putting up every resistance you can during the entire process.
I see the confusion.
It sounds like you're intentionally gaslighting.
I see the confusion. When I'm saying nobody's contesting it, I'm not saying that I wasn't, okay? What I mean to say is that both parties, neither party here, whether it be the New York nurse or Hassan, whether it be either of those people, neither of them are contesting that she did not have the bike rented during the duration of the video. What I mean by nobody, I want to be clear. What I mean by nobody is I'm saying the people involved in the incident. I thought I made that clear before. The people involved in the incident.
She is. So okay.
Well, no, you said her lawyer wasn't contesting that, didn't
you? I got you. Okay, let me grant you that then.
Okay, all right.
If she's not contesting that the bike is hers, what the hell is the reason for all of the theatrics, the fake crying, the screaming for help? What is all of that?
Okay, I'll explain. So if what her lawyer is saying is correct, right, because neither her lawyer nor Hassan are contesting, or at least from the video, are contesting that during the time period of this video, it's not technically rented to her because the light's purple. When she's saying that's my bike, the claim that her lawyer is making is prior to this video, she had the bike for a minute, and they pushed and docked it and tried to take the bike. That's perfect. If that happened, that is perfectly reasonable for her to say, no, that's my bike, even though technically it wasn't rented out to her. Do you agree with that?
I can see that. I can see
okay.
that.
All right.
If that's the case, and if that was the thing that was happening, still legally the bike is going to be his. But then, of course, they could probably like get him for, I don't know, assaulting or whatever. Because like ultimately, unless she has proof of that incident, then that's not going to be. But given the fact that she faked tears, and so she demonstrated she's a liar, right? Because it was malicious for her to pretend to be crying as soon as that white man came up. She snatched his phone, expressing her entitlement, and the fact that they were talking to her calmly and rationally, trying to get her to see the truth about what exactly happened, and during that entire time she was just yelling and screaming help at the top of her lungs, I'm more inclined to believe the calm, rational young men that were talking to this psychopath than I am to believe the woman who was literally willing to weaponize her tears and fake cry in order to try to gain more sympathy in the situation while screaming for help against people who were not physically attacking her and making up lies and false accusations about somebody attacking her unborn child. All of those things combined are why I'm more inclined to believe these young men than I would this psychopath. I hope she loses her job.
Would you agree that you would be, so you said you would be more likely to believe someone who's calm and rational as opposed to, let's say, somebody who was freaking out and screaming and crying?
And lying and deceiving.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's the deceptive part that makes me not want to trust anything that comes out of her mouth ever again.
I don't know what to say. I agree with you that the receipts don't seem to show a open and shut case. And if you had stuck around the panel, which I'm not making a judgment on whether or not you should or shouldn't have, if you had, you would have heard me say that. When I said, when I even asked Prime, like, would you agree that perhaps there's not enough right now to condemn somebody either way? And he agreed with that. And that's pretty much where the panel on that specific topic ended, where we don't have enough evidence. The issue I have is we take this video, and you seem to think that with her crying and her emotion, apparently she had just gotten off a 12-hour shift and she's pregnant. I mean, we can talk about how pregnant women react to things emotionally. You seem to think, well, that's evidence of her, being a liar. And that she should lose her job for it. Do you think it's evidence of her being racist?
I don't have any idea if she's racist at all, but I know that I believe that she's using The racial lens through which this country views things to her advantage by screaming help against these 4 young black men. And I think that the fake tears were also part of that, because I know that I'm pretty sure she's aware. I know she's aware of the optics of what it looks like for her doing what she's doing. And I know that she was cognizant enough, as demonstrated by her deciding during the altercation to remove her badge so as to try to not be identified, because she recognized that they were recording. And the conscious decision to cry once she finally had an onlooker who was there to quote unquote help her, that is enough to let me know that she was absolutely aware of what she was doing. And I know that you know that there was a racial lens that there would immediately be perceived in this incident.
I don't know if, especially a pregnant woman in a situation like that, if they would be fully perceptive as to how people would view things or whether or not some kind of racial element would be enacted. Now,
so then why did she take off her badge?
I don't know. I don't know why she took off her badge.
Do you think that denoted some type of awareness of the situation at all?
I don't know why she took off her badge.
Give me any.
I certainly.
Name 2 different reasons. Give me just 2 possible
I don't know.
reasons.
I don't know.
You can't think of a single reason?
So what I'm assuming that you're speculating is that she took it off because she perceived this would be seen as racist and she didn't want to have her identification on a video.
No, it didn't have to be about her thinking that people would see it as racist. She just didn't want to be identified. That's why she did. That's why she wore the badge. I mean, that's why she took the.
Why didn't she want to be identified?
Because obviously getting into this altercation with these young men where she's trying to take this bike that she knows is not hers, at this point she recognizes that it can come back to her job.
What if she thinks it's hers? What if she thinks it's hers?
Hold on. Now we're moving past this thing. Do you agree that the reason she took her badge off was to avoid identification?
I don't know why she took her badge off.
Okay, that's the only thing that I can think of. Can you posit literally any other reasonable idea that would make her want to take off her badge?
I don't know. People react in stressful situations strange ways. So if I'm in a stressful situation, I could be adjusting my clothes. I could be pulling my shirt. I could be unbuttoning and rebuttoning my shirt. I know personally, in the past, when I've had a work badge before, I would constantly click it off, put it back on, click it off, put it back on. There's plenty of reasons. I don't know specifically why she took her badge off. It could be because she wanted to avoid identification because she was about to, stand up for herself, or she was about to try to steal a bike for some people, or she felt that she was going to be in danger if people could identify her, and there's a video of her. It could be because she perceived that maybe this might look too racist when she's having an altercation with 4 black men. That could be, all those could be reasons. I don't know the actual reason she took the badge off.
Guess what? All 3 of those reasons fall under the exact thing that I said.
I listed 4.
4. All 4 of them have to do with her trying to hide her identity or avoid identification.
No, that's three of them did. 3 of them.
What was the fourth one?
Stress reaction, constantly pulling things off.
Oh, okay.
Moving
she
clothing
did it for literally no reason, and she left her iPod. She left her AirPods in, but the lanyard was just too much.
Yeah.
All right, Lactate, I got you, bro. I don't even know where else to go here. I thought you would be honest about the situation, but it seems like everybody likes to be really, really dishonest. It took this much fighting to get you to even admit that the bike wasn't rented to her at the time. But
I'm curious. Have you ever had a discussion with somebody where you heavily disagreed with them that you didn't accuse them of being dishonest?
Plenty of times. I mean, I just had a conversation with Leafy Water Guy where we were discussing religion, and he's a renowned atheist. I mean, he's a known atheist, and we just had a disagreement. It didn't mean that he was dishonest.
You never accused him of dishonesty during that?
No, of course not. Why would I?
Okay, all right.
He just disagreed. He just didn't see things from our perspective. But I think, yes, it's incredibly dishonest when a person can sit here and see a person taking off a lanyard because they're aware that they're being recorded and say, no, it wasn't to avoid protection. Or
it could be.
Or when a person can sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be perfectly yelling and screaming and all this stuff and have enough awareness to take your phone from you. But it's really just all a fear reaction. But the second another person comes on that's like, I think it's going to help me, I immediately turn on the waterworks. But no, that wasn't with the intent to deceive, even though it was obviously fake crying because not a single tear came down her freaking eyes. But no, that wasn't to deceive. Yeah, you're dishonest as freak.
Yeah. So I don't know why she took the badge off. It very well could be, like I've already stated 3 times, it very well could be that she wanted to hide her identity, right? I don't know why she took the badge off. This is part of the concern. You're speaking very authoritatively about this incident, right? You're looking at the video, you're going through timestamps, you're saying this is the case. while the whole time I have been saying, I don't know what is the case or what's not. I don't think we have enough to go off here to condemn this woman. I'm not making the affirmative case that she is in the right. I want to make that crystal clear. Do you think that I've been making that case? Do you think at any point in this conversation I've been making the affirmative case, Fanatiq, this woman is in the right?
Nope.
Great. I've just been saying there's a lot going on here. And when you make a statement like, I hope she loses her job, when she's been getting death threats, when she had to hire a lawyer for this, when she's been put on leave from her work, when all these things are happening, and it turns out the story is a little bit more complex than what a lot of people on Twitter, if you want to bring up Twitter, a lot of people on Twitter were saying, which is she's a fucking racist engaged in white supremacy, right? I think that's just like you're jumping the gun. That's just fucking ridiculous. You can't say that. You have to be a little bit more careful when you're levying accusations at people.
I'm telling you, the accusations that I levied, that she took off her badge to avoid identification, as we know she did. Well, I'm levying the accusation that she fake cried. Are you willing to admit that? Did she fake cry?
I don't know if she fake cried or not. People said Kyle Rittenhouse fake cried. He's in therapy now.
All right. Hey, listen, this has been a good talk, bro. I'm sorry. I thought, look, I'm sorry. I pegged you wrong. I thought you were being dishonest. You might just be. Yeah. Yo, listen. Sorry, I got so heated. Okay.
Take care. Hey, I was concerned because you came on. You were saying, "Hey, I'm reformed. I'm calm."
I was for the panel.
I like to have mostly, yeah. I mean, there was a little bit. To be fair, like you did get angry when people interrupted you before during the panel. Yeah. I got one more question for you, if you could humor me.
Go ahead.
So this has happened twice now in Prime panels where somebody else has said the word. Okay. And the first time you got very angry and you wanted the person removed, and they were removed from the panel. And then the second time was when Doobie said it, and you left the panel. When you say it a lot, and when you join the panel with that as your pronouns, I'm curious, why is somebody saying it who's not black such a big problem for you?
You understand? You already know why it's such a problem. Again, it's like the idea that we have the presumption that when a black person is using the insult or using the word, that they're meaning it in a positive way. And when a white person is using it, we don't have that presumption. That's why.
Right. But when Doobie said it, it was specifically to say, hey, you shouldn't be able to call people that. How could that be presumed to be in a negative way?
I already answered your question. I don't have the presumption that he didn't mean it to be negative.
Okay. And is there anything that can shake this presumption? Like, could a white person ever prove this presumption incorrect, that he truly did not mean the N-word in a negative way?
The only thing that will give me the presumption is the fact that a person is black.
Gotcha. And that cannot be changed.
I think it probably can, but I know that it wouldn't be an immediate assume. It wouldn't be an immediate presumption.
Sure.
It's not a presumption anymore. It's like, okay, based off of these things, and now I assume, right? But you obviously understand the difference between a presumption and an assumption. The presumption happens before any additional information in order to give you that thing, whereas an assumption is based off of the information you could start to assume some sort of way, or based off of certain factors.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get.
So the other factors wouldn't be a presumption; it would start to be an assumption. And again, I don't give anyone out there, so then nothing could change presumption.
Gotcha.
No.
So leaving the presumption aside, if you could read Doobie's mind and you knew that he wasn't meaning it in a negative way, he just wanted to point out some kind of hypocrisy, let's say.
But that's not the case. I know that Doobie understands that word is inflammatory, and he's been in trouble for saying that word before on a Prime Kai's panel. And he also recognizes we have an entire culture that knows that you don't say that freaking word as a non-black person. He knows it. He's aware of it. He's had debates about whether or not he should be able to say it. So then that means anytime he is saying that word, it's with clear and concise understanding that we do not appreciate other people using that word, and he knows what he's doing, and he's making a conscious decision to violate that. Fact. Do you disagree with anything that I just said?
I disagree a little bit, but going back to my question, which was if you could read,
your brain doesn't work.
If you could read his mind,
I don't need to.
No, that wasn't my question. So it's a conditional hypothetical. Okay, I'm not asking you what is the case. I'm asking if this is the case, then what? Okay, You said you did well in the LSAT. You should be able to follow conditional hypotheticals. Okay.
I'm not about to engage in some unfounded conditional hypothetical about some ridiculous situation after I just laid out to you deductively why I don't need to engage in a hypothetical, why I don't need to assume, why I don't need to engage in something that it cannot be proven whatsoever. Why would I do that when I can say deductively because A, because B, because C, therefore D? You want me to say, well, okay, let's just say this hypothetical E, which we can never prove, which is literally impossible. What about that one? Why am I doing that? The freak out of here.
That's the point of the hypothetical is I want to explore this a little bit. So again, let me ask.
I don't want to engage in it. But go ahead. You can ask the question and I'm going to tell you I probably don't want to engage in it.
Fair. If you could read Doobie's mind and you knew for a fact that when he said it, he wasn't meaning it maliciously, all right? He was just trying to point out some kind of inconsistency. Maybe he wasn't fully aware of all the ramifications when he said it, but that's not. We know that's not what he was trying to mean, okay? If we knew that, then would you have a problem with him saying it? Now, the reason I'm asking this is I want to know if the perception of a non-black person saying this is bad enough to condemn on its own, or if the intention of the speaker actually matters. That's the reason I'm asking this question.
Okay, so I'm not going to go ahead and engage with that one. It's crazy how much you're willing to engage in all of these unrealistic and impossible hypotheticals, but you couldn't engage with the basic things that I was explaining to you about the system that works for City Bike, and that was conspiracy brained. Man, you guys go through leaps and bounds to try to do everything you can to justify the N-word, but can't justify this person losing her job. I hope she gets bodied like Amy Cooper did. I hope all the worst things happen. And I hope Hassan eventually gets out and gets himself a freaking GoFundMe and all of that kind of stuff. And I hope that he gets promoted just the same way that Christian Cooper did. I wish the worst. I don't wish the worst on her. But if the worst happens to her, I won't feel bad about it.
Okay.
You're entitled. You're an apologist. All you
no. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion. I reject some of the ways you're characterizing some of the things I said, but that'll be up for the people who watch this. I just want to say one thing though. I believe, from my perspective, that I have absolutely engaged in everything that you brought forward. I believe that you've been driving a lot of this conversation. I've remained calm, perhaps much like Hassan in this video, right? I've remained calm, and you've been not so in certain periods of this conversation. I'm very concerned, maybe not with you, but with how quickly people condemned her as a Karen or a white supremacist or this is a clear example of whiteness, without having the full facts of the story. And even if she turns out to be wrong, and maybe even if it turns out that she is racist, okay? That doesn't change the fact that this knee-jerk condemnation is wrong. It's not conducive to a healthy society. And we know from past stories that it has been wrong in certain circumstances. So I just want you to think about that a little bit. But I appreciate your energy, as always.
Just to be crystal clear, you can say that I've been calm the entire time while being incredibly dishonest and dismissive of every argument that I'm putting in there. I understand why you would be completely calm, because guess what? I actually did all the research. I was the one that actually followed the story and looked up how the thing worked and all of those things. So of course I'd be driving the conversation. You literally approached the entire conversation with an I don't know, but I'm not willing to concede anything that you say. I literally pointed out to you that, hey, when the bike is docked, it has to be green. Well, does it have to be? Will we definitely see a green? I mean, could it dock without being green?
I still don't know that.
While still simultaneously positing all sorts of absurd things. How about maybe she just transferred the thing over to someone else while they weren't using it? What if a third party was the one that actually had the bike in their ownership during this time? Well, what if he, like in the middle of the argument while having his hands occupied and so on and so forth, he booked another thing on the bike during the altercation? What if everything you can do to dismiss everything that I point out that logically follows? That's what you were doing. So you can say that you're being calm. You can say that you're being engaging, but you're being dishonest.
I'm not making the affirmative claim.
And it seemed like the only thing that you were willing to engage with was the statement from the lawyer, which was obviously, in my opinion, deceptive and painted the young black men in a bad light. It's the only thing that you were willing to grant, which then you were willing to concede all of the points that I had laid out up to that point, and then began gaslighting me, telling me, well, no one ever contested this. You did, nigga. Miss me.
From the beginning, of course, I was contesting it. I said that again, like 5 or 6 times now.
But
and
you said that multiple times.
I clarified what I meant when I say no one's contesting. When you pointed out that the lawyer for the person for this quote unquote Karen was not contesting that. That's what I said that I meant. That should be clear now, right?
It was just bad diction.
No,
It
no,
was bad diction.
Sure. So, okay, maybe it was bad diction. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. Thank you again for correcting me, Fanatiq. Okay, I'm not the one making the positive claim. When you're making a positive claim, you have the burden of proof. You got to bring all the evidence, and I get the great privileged position of sitting back and criticizing each and every piece of evidence that you put forward, even though I don't have to put forward any of my own. That's what
That's
a positive claim. That's what a positive claim. And
you shouldn't be criticizing. You should be scrutinizing. But scrutiny doesn't require criticism. Scrutiny just requires analysis. And what
I was analyzing.
No, you were not.
Yes.
What you were doing, as you just admitted, was criticizing. There's a very clear difference. You should scrutinize, and the difference between scrutiny and criticism is that criticism takes the negative position against something, whereas scrutiny just requires strict analysis. That's the difference.
No. So you're wrong. You criticize evidence that comes forward because you test it. You try to see if it's good evidence or bad evidence. And in the face of it, no. You criticize. You can scrutinize it too, but it is perfectly fine to criticize evidence as it comes forward, because if it's weak evidence and it can't stand up to criticism, then it's not that beneficial for the positive claim. That's why you criticize evidence that comes forward. And if I make a positive claim and I put forward evidence, you are perfectly free to say, well, that might not mean that. Well, hold on a minute. Couldn't this be the case? How could you possibly extrapolate this from that? That's perfectly fine.
So then what's the difference between scrutinize and criticize then?
I don't know the dictionary difference between the two. I just know that
Don't give me the dictionary definition. Give me how you would use the two workingly. In a working definition.
Sure.
How would you do that?
So in a working definition, scrutinize would be examining, reviewing, going through,
analyzing.
Sure. Yeah.
Testing. What's criticize?
Not testing. Scrutiny would not be testing necessarily. I wouldn't use it that way, at least.
There's no way that these words aren't these words aren't synonymous.
So for me, criticizing. Well, if it is synonymous, then I'm still right for using the word criticize, right?
Let me see. Hold on.
Whoa. If it is synonymous, then I'm right for using the word criticize, right?
Criticize means to find fault with. And no, you shouldn't immediately be just trying to find fault with somebody's argument.
If someone's you should be.
What you should be doing is examining closely the argument, which is why I said scrutinize as opposed to criticize. I guess test isn't listed as one of the words in the thesaurus.
You ever heard of literary criticism or scientific criticism? You ever heard of that?
I've heard of literary criticism. I mean, I guess that typically is I guess that literary criticism, when you add in literary to it, then it probably takes on a different context for sure. Literary contextualizes the word such that it would probably be a lot more sensitive.
What about evidentiary criticism? You ever heard of that term before?
No.
Okay. I'm letting you. Maybe this is a different way we approach this. When somebody makes a positive claim, right? When they're saying this is the case, and I'm skeptical, right? I don't know if this is the case, and they're putting forward evidence. Of course, I'm going to try to find fault. With the evidence put forward, because if they have a response, if the other person has a response to all of my criticisms, well, then fuck. I guess it makes a lot of sense. Which is why I would really like to see Hassan's receipt, because that'd be a great piece of evidence that I'd want to take a look at.
Yeah, that's a good question. If you really thought it was just between the two people there, one, why did you say no one, number one? And then also, like, you literally brought up like the Twitter claims and etc. And then furthermore, again, it was you and everyone else on the panel that were saying it, right? And then when I explained to you, like, this was the going narrative, in response to that, you were like, why are you looking at Twitter? right? And furthermore, both the lawyer and all those other people they didn't even mention, they never mentioned or affirmed that Hassan was the rightful owner of the bike during the altercation. In fact, they left it vague, saying she has a receipt that says she paid for the bike in the middle of the altercation, and that was it. They never mentioned that the bike was rented out to Hassan during it.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think I already agreed with you that the news story should make that clear, that it's unclear who has the bike rented out during the video. It's likely not her, right? And that, by the way, during the panel, right, if you said, here's a story saying that her own lawyer is saying that the bike wasn't rented out during the video, that would have been a great point to make, and you should have made it.
I don't have to, because guess what? Just simply saying her own lawyer said it all of the other evidence already admitted it. Again, you're doing the same thing all over again. I can list out to you, hey, here's evidence number one. The fact that the man said that the bike was rented out. The fact that he was able to move the bike. The fact that the light was purple. The fact that her receipt was only 1 minute. All of these evidence are like point blank period that it's not rented out to her during this time. But for you, the only thing that you will do is you immediately fillet the lawyer and be like, yeah, he's right. So yeah, it must not have been hers. That's it.
Yeah, because when you have the person accused of something saying, yeah, that's correct, that's like, what basis is there to like even be skeptical anymore?
I get it. And you feel like that's actually a good take. So look, it doesn't matter any other evidence. As long as you have the lawyer making a statement, then none of the other stuff is worth engaging with, which is why I felt like you were being so dismissive of all of the evidence that I presented to you in the first place, which you called conspiracy brain. It makes all the sense in the world.
Well, I said it sounded conspiracy brained, which it did.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily was conspiracy brain. But it definitely sounded conspiracy brain, like the way you were going from like snapshot to snapshot to snapshot.
So do you think that it's possible that a lawyer would be more motivated to lie for his client? Why would we be putting why would we put more basis on a lawyer who has the ability to lie than the actual incontrovertible evidence?
Well, hold on. So that's a great point. If you have a lawyer whose goal is to make things look best for their client, then when they're admitting something that doesn't look the best for their client, which is she didn't have the bike rented during the video, then the presumption...
But he didn't admit that. He never said that publicly. He never said that. I'm extrapolating that because of the fact that I have all the other information in order to make that. And obviously, even from the basis of
you showed the story.
New York Post article, even for, I know I showed the story, and never in the story did he ever say, hey, this bike is rented out to Hassan during that time. So again, I had to extrapolate extra information based off of the fact that I knew that she couldn't rent out a second bike while the bike was rented. I knew that the bike was purple, meaning the bike was in use.
Fanatiq.
I knew that the receipt was only 1 minute. I knew, and I was literally deducting that because of the fact that the man said, hey, reset the bike that minute had to been undocked at that time. All of these things are where I came to the conclusion. But as we saw in the Twitter comments, as I'm seeing in response to my YouTube video, as I'm seeing from the panel that we had the interaction with on Monday, all of these things clearly indicate that the vast majority of people did not take from the lawyer's statements the fact that the bike was rented out to Hassan during that time.
Okay, so the article that you showed, in a written statement, he admitted, the lawyer, that his client had the bike for the minute before the video started, right? I mean, didn't it say that? You literally highlighted it during this discussion.
He didn't say that it was for the minute before the video started. He just said that she had a receipt for the bike for 1 minute total.
Go back to that article that you just had up. I thought that's what it said.
My Lord. No, you didn't. I just told you what it said.
Okay, let's go back.
Look, the first receipt.
No, not this one. Not this one. It was the one where it had the written statement from her lawyer put up right there.
One or more individuals in the group basically pushed her bike with her on the back, causing it to relock. That's all it says. It didn't talk about in relation to the time that the video was recorded at all.
Okay, that was an article that I found then. Hold on.
So you just made that up?
No, it was from an article that I found. I just said.
Okay. You said multiple times that it was an article that I said, and even though I told you point blank that it wasn't.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
Yeah, I got you. You just keep thinking wrong.
I must, yeah.
So anyway, so the fact of the matter was, like I said, then this lawyer and these articles clearly indicated to most people that meant that she owns the bike during this thing. He never did mention anything in order to distinguish that.
I agree. I agree that
So the
stories
lawyer
should make
implied
that.
that to everyone. And no, I don't want to hear your basic statement of I agree that they should make things more clear. I'm making a different statement. The statement I'm making is what the lawyer did through these statement left everyone with the impression that at the time of the recording of the video, the bike was hers. That's what I'm saying. Fact or not?
From the article that you demonstrated, but I definitely saw one story that said that it happened before the video started. So hold on a second.
So this was the one that was the most popular. This
Hold
one
on.
in NBC News, and both of those things left everyone with that impression, which is why still in my comment section in my YouTube video right now, I got retards out there arguing with me that, hey, no, this video was her, the bike was her during the time, blah, 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 blah. We can look right now. I guarantee
I'm very sorry that you're having issues with your YouTube comments. Okay,
It's not about me having issues. It's about the fact, once again, that this article incorrectly implied that the bike belonged to her during the recording of that video. That's what I'm getting at. I don't have a problem with retards leaving comments in my section video. I don't have a problem having debates with retards that are not remembering the articles that I'm reading. I can handle that. It's just a fact that this thing was obviously deceptive.
Yeah, hold on a second.
You gonna let me call you a retard like that, bro? You ain't gonna call me out?
I don't do personal insults.
I just called you a retard and it was a joke, but you should have at least caught it. Don't prove to me you're retarded when I'm calling you a retard and you don't even notice.
I mean, was reading as well, but I don't
Okay.
I don't engage in that tomfoolery. So
All right.
I linked you an article right here. So right here, somebody pushed the bike that she was on back onto the docking station. It relocked, and then the video takes over, and it shows you that she's just frankly in incredible distress. That's from Marino, who's her attorney, Justin Marino. So that's where I got it from. So her lawyer did make it clear, and I would like the news agencies to make it as clear as her lawyer did.
It said he still didn't make the statement that then they scanned the bike themselves and rented it to themselves and owns the bike during that time.
Look, so do you see what I'm talking about? Somebody pushed the bike that she was on back into the docking station.
I just heard
it
that
relocked.
and I just responded. I heard you. I heard.
So
that
wait, so he has to include all of that, otherwise he's a liar?
I'm saying that by him leaving this implication that the bike was locked during this time, then it doesn't clearly indicate, and it leaves everyone with the implication that the bike belonged to her during the time when when the argument was happening. Because everyone walked away from that. And I don't even know who the hell is News Station Now? No one else included that. Obviously, which is why all the information was trending in a different direction.
Sure, they should include that. Yeah, I don't think it's like
right. So it was deceptive to not include that.
So I don't think that at the time of the video, if the contention is what happened before the video, I don't think it's actually all that important who had the bike.
Of course it is. That's literally the center of the conversation. That's what all the comments were about. That I just read to you on Twitter. Why are you reading me Twitter comments?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that they're behaving the way they are. I'm sorry they're behaving the way they're behaving. Okay, but
you keep saying, I don't think it's important, yet it's the piece of information that everyone's clinging to right now in the comments. All of the contention right now is around this thing, and you're saying it's not important.
So why I don't find it important is because it wouldn't seem relevant. It wouldn't seem relevant to the actual disagreement. Now, it could be that you have a bunch of people in your comments section that maybe don't know what we've talked about right now, and believe that there's some kind that her lawyer is definitively saying that during the time of the video she had the bike checked out, and they wouldn't be able to back up that statement, right? So maybe they're just misinformed.
They're intentionally withholding that information. I can't speak to their intention for sure. I think withholding that information is dishonest, it's unfair, it's ridiculous, and we understand what would happen with withholding that information, and we've seen it happen. Everybody's now walking away with the impression that things were there, and then you have to argue with idiots trying to prove to them that the bike was checked out during that time, with them calling it conspiracy brain and doing everything they can to hide from the fact, from the deductive fact, that the bike was clearly checked out to Hassan during the recording of that video. I got you, bro. I mean, good try. I mean, I get you. You know, you're willing to be as charitable to literally everybody else, but can't be charitable to me, literally giving you facts and details that prove the fact that the bike was rented out during that time. You're right. Yeah, I mean, that's just how your brain works, or doesn't?
I've listened to everything you've had to say. Okay.
And dismissed the vast majority of it.
I've listened to everything you have to say.
And dismissed the vast majority of it.
Obviously, I'm going to provide pushback and I'm going to contest points.
You dismissed the vast majority of it.
When you're making a positive claim, okay?
The positive claims that I made were the deductive claims, specifically facts, the positive claim that during the recording of the video, the purple light indicates that the bike was rented out. That's a positive claim that I made, and it's a justified deductive claim. The fact that the bike wasn't docked during the recording of that video, that's a positive claim I've made, and it's a deductive claim because a bike that's docked would be green. So because of the fact that there was no green, that means that the bike was actually not docked during that time. That's a positive claim I made. I also made a positive claim that the video lasted longer than a minute and that her receipt was only for 1 minute. That's a positive claim I've made. I made the positive claim that 3 different people asserted that the bike wasn't docked during the recording of that video. That's a positive claim I've made. You dismissed all of that. I made another positive claim. I made the positive claim that his friend was sitting on a bike that was clearly not docked at the station, and you can pause and see the purple light on another bike that was clearly not a docking station. That's another positive claim I've made. None of which are conspiratorial in nature. Everything followed deductively from the facts that I was able to determine, and you're still trying to call that conspiracy brain in order to be dismissive of me actually doing the homework while you had nothing, while positing literally nonsensical, unfounded statements like, hey, maybe it's possible that a third person rented the bike. Maybe it's possible during the tussling that he rented the bike out with her. Maybe it's possible that, you know, that bike was there for that 1 minute, and we just didn't see it, and during the time when it was great, it wasn't actually docked. Maybe it's possible that they docked the bike while we weren't looking, and that it was just for a half a second, and the bike did move, and that the bikes don't have to be symmetrical when they're being docked. Maybe it's possible that she transferred the information or the bike ownership to another person during the middle of it. Like, all of these things, everything you can do to obfuscate the problem. I see it. Again, you're charitable. Maybe it's possible they weren't intentionally misrepresenting the information and only put in the fact that she had a receipt while not indicating that the bike was clearly not hers during the altercation. Maybe they just did that not intentionally. It's everything that you can do in order to make it sure that she's not the evil wench that deserves to lose her job that she is. I hope she gets it. Amy Cooper got it. I need a run back.
Powerful.
I know. I am kind of powerful. My logic is pretty ridiculous. That's enough content for today, bro. What you think?
It was everything I expected and more, Fanatiq.
All right, that's good. You said you got a 162 on the LSAT?
Yeah, I heard you did too.
Yeah, how long did you practice?
I didn't. I just fucking.
You just randomly raw took it?
Yeah, I can't. I've got like really bad ADHD. I can't study for shit. I just took it.
I never thought of it as a product of ADHD, but I can't study either. I don't even know what that is.
I can't. I don't fucking know. It sucks during law school. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I actually had to like reform a little bit because it was bad. Like just like, oh shit, like 3 days before the exam, I gotta fucking learn this shit. So I studied a little bit then, but not for the LSAT.
See, I think that would probably be the hardest thing about law school is like the idea that like most of education is all intuitive stuff, right? Like you learn English, it already kind of like fits within the framework of how you speak. You learn math, and most of it's going to be pretty linear stuff until you get into the higher maths, and then that stuff start becoming more theoretical and not intuitive. But like for the most part, it's pretty intuitive. Learning biology, all that stuff fits within stuff that you already know like a lot of, so it's all really, really intuitive. And then law seems like it would be not. Like it seems like it would be all of this stuff where it's just like kind of sometimes just raw memorization and things like that, which now you probably need the tools required to study, which I don't have.
Yeah.
So it's a scary thing.
With common law shit, there's more of a kind of a structure to it. You can kind of understand, well, that doesn't sound quite right. Hold on a second. But with like statutes, because I mean that's just whatever happens to have been passed before, you get shit that's just blatantly contradictory, and then you have to. And this shit, even judges fuck up sometimes and get reversed. I mean, more than sometimes they get reversed by higher, appeals judges and.
Can you give me an example of like two things that would be like counterintuitive and contradictory?
I can give you an example of something that's like completely arbitrary. So do you know adverse possession? Have you ever heard of that concept before?
No.
Adverse possession is better known. I'm sure you've heard of this. Squatters' rights, where if you sit on something long enough, it becomes yours. Well, every single state has a different time limit for how long you have to sit on something before it becomes yours. So, like one of the longest, for example, is Louisiana, where you have to sit on a house. If you want to own the house, you got to sit in it for 40 years, constantly, improving it and maintaining it, and then, saying I own this when you actually don't, and then it becomes yours. In California, I think it's only 3 or 5. It's one of the two. We're talking like an incredibly short period of time, and then the property just becomes yours. You can go get the title from a judge. So it's literally trespassing unless you hold it long enough. Then it's not. Then it becomes yours. I think that's kind of arbitrary and a little bit contradictory.
Jeez. So, okay, how would something like that happen? Because it seems like the second you go into the property that's not actually yours, and they can just immediately say, hey, this is not your house, and kick you out for trespassing.
Yeah, but if they don't do it fast enough, then they get fucked. The biggest case we learned about was like there was a landowning company that bought a whole bunch of land in Alaska. And like a couple went there and basically built like a cabin, built all sorts of shit, and then a whole bunch of years passed, and the land company just never bothered to check it out. And then they came back, were like, "Hey, actually, this is our land." And the people that lived there were, "No, it's not. This is our land now," and they won, so they get a whole bunch of free land.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then that would mean like anytime. Why couldn't homeless people just be doing that all the time?
They do. Look, I mean, there's like plenty of videos online of homeless squatters just like going in, taking over property. A lot of times, like landowners will try to build fences around land that's not theirs, and if the fence remains there long enough, then whatever land like is within the fence becomes theirs. So there's like land disputes that happen between farmers and shit over this all the time. Yeah.
So you could just like extend it, like, okay, I'm just going to get an extra 10 feet here, and they're not going. And if they don't catch it within time, it's mine.
Yep, pretty much.
That's literal thievery.
It's literal, yeah, it is, but it's legalized thievery. So
that's gross. All right, pick that. All right, Lactate. Thanks so much for letting me yell at you, bro. I think
as always, Fanatiq. It was always good to chat with you. Yeah.
I keep saying we got to have some conversations off stream. I think there would be better conversations, legit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always down. Just hit me up.
All right, man. We'll be in touch. Peace out.
Peace. All right. So oh shit, I still had the I'm sorry. I actually typed out the new stream name and then I had it from last night. I apologize. When I save it to YouTube, I'll make sure to have the proper name on there. Oh, sorry, Roland, you missed a little bit of content. Fanatiq was on the warpath of Destiny was racist. Vosh is apparently, I don't know if you'd call Vosh racist, but he definitely called Vosh racist adjacent or supporting racism or dishonest, something like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what he'd call him, but I did see him call Destiny racist specifically. I did see that. So, yeah, no, always fun to talk with Fanatiq. He is a he is a hoot. I will say this. When you read more into the articles, it does seem that people are taking this receipt thing as like a silver bullet. Like, this is just over. Like, the case is closed. She's not at fault, and he is at fault. Her lawyer even said so. That's not 100% true. Right. If that was Fanatiq's only point, like if Fanatiq got on and was like, hey, people are saying this is not right. Like there's a bunch of things here like that just don't add up. You can't make the positive claim that she's not at fault here. All right. We don't know who's at fault. There's a lot of things that we have to like look at. That would be an incredibly defensible claim. And I would have wound up agreeing with it in full. Like, okay, that's the fucking claim. That's 100% correct. I think that's true, and I do think that he's doing a good thing by pointing that out. Okay. Now that's the good. The bad is how confidently he makes very definitive positive claims. She should lose her job, right? She is absolutely in the wrong. She was weaponizing her whiteness. That's a common one you hear, right? Weaponizing your whiteness. You were weaponizing her womanhood. She had the intention of fake crying. She was trying to hide her identity from, we don't know if she's trying to hide her identity from the camera because she was worried about the death threats, which she got. She has been getting death threats, or if she was trying to avoid, her job from perceiving her as racist or whatever it happens to be the case, or if she just took it off because, that's something that she does when she walks out of work. Oh, I still have this on, pulling this off, right? That could be it as well. When you make such definitive claims of, it looks like this is like, or not, if you make a non-definitive claim, which this could be the case, this is why we don't know if she's in the right or wrong. Sure. No, this is the case. This is why she's evil. This is why, I think he specifically said, I hope, she loses her job. She gets what's coming, I think was specifically said. It's just like, I don't know. I think that's irresponsible. I think it's irresponsible to say that. I think it's fine to show that people shouldn't be just like taking her side immediately. That's reasonable. I do think it's irresponsible to say, oh, she is evil now. Look at this. She's evil. I've got the fucking timestamps. The light was purple. She's a demon. Look at that purple light. That only comes from demons. You can see that, right? Look at her. She's literally Satan. A Satan incarnate. Like, hold on. Like, just step on the brakes for a second and realize that when you make claims like this, such strong claims about factual statements, when you're wrong, it looks bad. It looks awful. So, and you don't have... Yeah, hold on. I'm taking a look at the video that you want me to take a look at, Roland. Hold on. I got to do it on my phone, though, because I got Discord open, and look. I'm a little bit of a boomer. Oh, TZ and T. Okay. I'm guessing this is a long video. Oh, an hour and 6 minutes. Yeah, it's an hour and 6 minutes. I will watch this. I will watch this video. And, maybe there's things that I missed. And maybe like when you look at everything, wow, she actually is in the right. This is ridiculous. But still, even if that's the case, the news agency's leaving out the fact that her lawyer said that the bike was locked before the video is a little bit weird, right? At the very least, the news agencies should make that clear, right? Hey, clearly, like, here's blah, 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 why she's right. But she locked the bike in, or the bike was locked in. She's saying that they pushed her into it. The bike was locked in prior to the video starting. That's important because there's a lot of people who are under a misrepresentation or I guess under are confused about that and are misrepresenting what her lawyer actually said. And I thought that's what her lawyer was claiming too, because I was reading the same news stories that Fanatiq was pointing to. I thought that what the lawyer was saying, well, no, during the video, she was the one who bought the bike. That's what it seems like they're saying. And that doesn't actually seem to be correct when you look at what her lawyer is saying. That's kind of weird. But everybody who started calling her a white supremacist, because they saw the first video, it's just fucking crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy. 100% irresponsible bullshit. So the only correct opinion, like almost every time a situation happens, and anytime a situation blows up in any kind of fucking social media, the most responsible thing to do, always, is to say we don't 100% know why this is the case. But the fact that they were so willing to condemn her as a white supremacist immediately, I think shows just how gung-ho and trigger-happy the media is to look for racism. She was racist. This is the case, right? Look at that. Kyle Rittenhouse, like he was racist. They were all fucking racist. The word, as we know, the word racism has increased, 300%? White supremacy, 600%, all since 2011, 2012. That's a factual statement. The media wants to push the racism narrative that's within their interests. That's what they like to do. It gets views, it gets clicks, people care about it, so they try to look for it where it might not necessarily exist. Okay? And that's what we saw here. Even if they turn out to be right, that's what we saw here, without a doubt. I will make that positive claim, that they were irresponsible. That's an easy claim to defend. So that's on the topic on Fanatiq. Is he really doing actually gotcha definition games? Every discussion I've ever had with him, he does that. Whenever I use a word and I'm like, well, this is how I'm using it, he will dictionary definition it and say you're using it wrong. That's like one of the most frustrating things about having a discussion with somebody, because whether or not somebody's using a word incorrectly is somewhat irrelevant to what they're trying to mean. It can definitely breed confusion. So if somebody has a belief that a word means something that it doesn't, they might say the word incorrectly. And some people might be now under like, oh, well, fuck, that's what this person means. And it's good to like try to avoid that practice, obviously, try to, communicate in ways that are most convenient for people to listen to. But if they go back and say, well, no, this is how I was using it. This is why I was using it. At that point, the discussion's over. There's no point in bringing up fucking the dictionary and saying you are wrong with how you were using it. Well, the whole point of language is communication, is to try to express ideas. And if you understand now the idea I'm trying to express, why do you have to nitpick the word I use to discuss it? Now, criticize is the right word, by the way. It's a perfectly fine word to use in that circumstance. But even if it was incorrect, who cares? Who cares? Is that really relevant here? I don't think it's relevant here. I do not have another topic right now, Mr. Roland. I don't know how. I know, Roland. We're gonna do a stream on social emotional learning pretty soon. I don't know if we're doing that now. I don't think so. It's already 8:33. This actually was sort of impromptu. Fanatiq just asked me. He asked me yesterday, and I couldn't. And then he asked me today, and I kind of couldn't too. But I can't. I didn't want to make it look like I was dodging. Okay, because I don't dodge people. If people challenge me on something, I will respond. Okay, I'm not going to back down. I will defend every take I make, unless I accidentally said some take that's against TOS now, because the TOS is always changing. Then I might be like, oh, well, we'll have to talk about that privately. But otherwise, I think almost everything I say is within TOS, mostly, entirely. Some other people, though, sometimes they'll say stuff a little bit outside of TOS, and I gotta roll with it. Like that one WIC debate about reparations. There was a few things being said there that probably shouldn't have been said. Roland, if it's and no pressure. If it's 30 minutes, I'm probably not gonna be able to stick around for that. But we're gonna do that for sure. I promise you. We will be doing a one-on-one, because I want to talk more about it anyway, because I think that's important. Because that really goes to the heart of the culture war, which is what kind of education are our children getting? So we will be talking about that one-on-one. I want to do a full stream on it, but I just don't know if I'll have time tonight, again, because This was a little bit impromptu. Just don't use his pronouns. Yeah, I'll address that in 1 second. Bringing up someone as a receipt, but not bringing up the actual evidence is why we don't all that, I'm guessing, allow that in a courtroom setting. When he said, I have receipts, and then didn't put them forward, or when he said, like, they exist, but I haven't looked at them yet, and he just refused to tell me where to find them, that was a little bit suspicious. That's sort of leaving shit out, kind of like what he was criticizing some of the news agencies for doing. Like, when you say you have something, and then I'm like asked, like, hey, even if he said, I'll get that to you later, like, I will send it to you. I'll let you know where to find it. Like, that would have been one thing. That would have been great. But to just say, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to give that to you. Okay. Well, then don't say you have it. I got a source that proves me right on absolutely everything. Okay, where is it? Oh, you don't need to see that. It exists though. Don't worry. Trust me, bro. If you go to looking on Google Scholar, eventually you'll find it. It literally says lactoid is correct. It's cited multiple times. It's very riveting research. 100% accurate. Can't give it to you though. Also, I have a harem of supermodels, and they all live in Alaska, and you can't meet them. They go to a different school. You can't meet them, but rest, be assured. Be assured. I have them. I have them. Roland, I will definitely be bringing questions as well. Don't worry about that. Okay, just don't use his pronouns. I wanted to address that a little bit. I don't like his explanation as to why he bowed out after Doobie said it. I'm not going to say it because I know it bothers him. And again, the point of language is communication and expressing ideas. And if I say that word, he's going to get offended. He's going to leave. He's not going to want to engage in the discussion anymore. He's not going to want to engage with the ideas. So I'm just not going to say it. I generally don't say it for that reason. I generally try to avoid slurs across the board, whether it be on the internet or in real life, even before like Discord and Twitch got super strict on using slurs. I just try to avoid them because it tends to turn people's brains off. Right? You could be having it's like a classic, like you're having an argument about something and you're winning or you're correct, and then you say something, and now the discussion is no longer about the thing that's like interesting. Now the discussion is on the fact that you said the word, and then they're going to leave. Or they're going to demand the person who said the word gets banned, which actually happened. I think LSP, was it? I think it was LSP, was on a panel with Prime, and he got banned because he said the word casually with the soft A, and Fanatiq very much wanted him to get banned, and he got banned. Or I don't know if he got banned permanently. I don't think he got banned permanently, but he got removed from the panel. But then when Doobie says it, he just left the discussion completely. That's weird. I don't agree with his reaction, but at the same time, that's not my fight. I don't care enough to argue about whether or not slurs are legitimate or not legitimate. It's just generally more beneficial to not use them because otherwise people's brains turn off and they just become angry. And we would not want to make Fanatiq angry. Okay. He's definitely not somebody who he doesn't get angry quickly. I'm sure you guys were able to tell. He's a very slow to anger, passive, sort of relaxed personality. Definitely. If you could listen to an audiobook from him. He could be reading the most relaxing. I would pay money for Fanatiq ASMR. That would be entertaining as fuck. Okay, if you had Fanatiq doing ASMR, and then he's calm for the first 15 minutes, and then he breaks out into some kind of angry, and then he calms down a little bit again. It'd be fucking awesome. Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the little bit of a shorter stream today, guys. I mean, it's definitely been almost almost 2 hours. So basically like a pretty shorter debate. But I'm glad it happened. I think Fanatiq had good points. I think he just lost. I think he lost the plot on some of the claims he was making. It's not acceptable. I have not seen Fanatiq versus Rob Noer. I need to see that if that actually happened. That would be awesome. Is Rob Noer streaming? Because that's who. No. But Tiberius is. You guys want to hear about Ukraine for the 3 millionth time? I heard Bakhmut just fell. All right. All right. I don't know why that was so gritty. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead now. Well, first, if you're new here and you enjoyed watching Fanatiq yell at me and have a discussion, a discussion on the bike incident and learning a little bit about adverse possession, you can go ahead and give me a follow. And then you can see more content just like this. We're going to be, well, obviously got more content coming up. I was talking a little bit to Roland. We're going to be doing a one-on-one discussion. Don't worry, Roland, I'm not going to yell at you. A discussion on social emotional learning. We're also, obviously, Mondays we got panels. And on Sundays we try to get in some more relaxed discussion on political happenings while I play StarCraft. That's always fun. People like that. Now, I was going to say one more thing. Yeah, it means how he actually ended things pretty civilly and friendly. Yeah, he does that. It's so much of it's an act. If you notice, that's why I wasn't getting super angry. I was not getting angry during that discussion. It's because I know, no matter how explosive he gets, at the end he's gonna bring it down a little bit. It's just I think it's a little bit of a character. It's probably some of his personality as well, but I think a lot of it's character. I wanted to ask a quick question before we go. I have been memed on a little bit for my camera angle. And here's the issue I'm running into. I got a great big old monitor, okay? This big, thick monitor, okay? Yeah, fat girl camera angle. See, I'm being heckled right now in my very chat. I'm getting heckled because of my fucking monitor angle, okay? Or my camera angle, okay? I got this big, fat monitor that is very high up. It ends very high up. And so I put the camera on top of theirs. Oh, that would make sense. But now people are making fun of me for it. What should I do? Because I don't know where else to put it without it being right here in front of my fucking teeth. I thought about getting maybe a boom arm, because you could get a boom arm, put it behind my desk and angle the boom arm to the side of my monitor and put a camera on that so it's viewing my face from the side. Would you guys prefer that? I'll make that happen if need be. I don't know how to fix it, but it is a little bit of a. Well, hold on. They could be haters. I don't care. I'm mostly asking for the quality of the stream, right? If I look ridiculous every time I turn on the camera because it's angled at my my forehead, my giant forehead, I'd want to know about that. We're here to create quality content, guys. I want to make sure that the camera angle is perfect and the lighting is perfect and the soundproofing is perfect. We're trying to make this a professional operation. But no one seems to have a problem with it in my chat. So I'll take that to mean that for the time being, yeah, I'm going to do that actually. That's a great, embrace the memes and make it higher. I think that's a good idea. I might do that. All right. Well, people think it's fine, or they don't think or they don't care. Or they want me to show more cleavage. I'll think about it. with how it's now, I don't mind. I know when I'm reading stuff, I'll lean in sometimes, and you'll just kind of see the top of my head. Or if I'm talking into the mic, right, my mic's right here, you can just kind of see the top of my head. But you know, if I get annoyed from it, I'll see if I can angle it right over here. Maybe get a boom arm. I should probably get a boom arm for microphone anyway. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, enough just shitting on microphone not doing anything. I'm going to go ahead and raid on into Tiberius D, our good friend Tiberius D. He's a really cool guy. And tell him I sent you and enjoy that content.